And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. I want to get there because then I'm going to ask to make it 1 million and then 2 million and so on. So do me a favor, hit subscribe, watch, comment. Please keep the comments coming and share. Please share with your family, your friends, with your neighbors, with everybody, because the insanity, it doesn't stop. And we need to build this community. So think about this. After a week of drama with the Senate and the House debating and voting on the big, beautiful bill, I want to talk about why our elected officials need to work together. On Political Beatdown, my co-host Ben Meiselas and I, we debated this idea. See, Ben thinks that no one wants to make deals with Trump and MAGA. And while I agree with that sentiment, I have a very different take. It's not a question, in my opinion, of whether they can, they should. No, they must. The only way, in my opinion, that this country ends up benefiting is when both sides work together in a bipartisan way. Play the clip.
You know, I don't like guys like they just keep saying, no, I vote no, I vote no. There's nothing. Let him do something. Let him get what he wants to vote yes. But if you look at his voting record, it's always against.
We're sitting right now, Ben, in this sort of, I don't even know where you would call us. We're in no man's land where, in some respect, he's not wrong. And in another respect, he's wrong completely. What's he not wrong about? What he's not wrong about is that neither side is willing to sit down and speak to the other side. How many of you remember the old days of Tip O'Neill? How many of you remember the days of even Newt Gingrich? You could fundamentally disagree with the individual on the other side of the aisle, but it wasn't this vitriolic assholeness that this sort of animus, this winner-take-all, loser-eat-shit mentality. This is the problem. You see, their job is not to sit there and go on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News for their clips. Their job is to work for us, the American people, to work for their constituents. But that's not what they're doing. They are playing to a party of one whose idea is fundamentally bad for their even own constituents. So imagine that. The person that you elected to protect you and your interests, your community's interests, your city or your state's interest, is actually just rolling over for a belly rub from Big Daddy. And that's just absolutely wrong, because what's going to ultimately happen is that everybody's going to end up suffering. And again, all it does is it just creates another stupid talking point that we Democrats just keep running with. Oh, but 2026 is going to, fuck 2026. Do you realize the amount of damage that can take place to this country over the course of the next, say, 15 months, 16 months, till that campaign gets on its way? Seriously? That's what we have to look forward to? No, we have to do things like grow Midas Touch, to make sure that we all do something, to call our representatives, to engage in meaningful dialogue, not just with each other. We all agree, for the most part, on the fundamentals. We agree. All right, we may not agree on everything or how I phrase it, but we ultimately agree on the fundamentals, that to put this big, beautiful bill out there to destroy Medicaid, Social Security, to take away food stamps and harm the marginalized that are already harmed enough. We all agree that that's wrong. All right. This has to come to an end. And honestly, I don't even know anymore. I really don't, other than ensuring that we keep growing the community bigger and bigger so that we don't even let 2026 become an issue. Because when Donald turned around and said, and every Democratic talking head pundit would sit there and say, this is never going to get through. There's already X number of Republicans, and you see these Democratic talking heads getting up there and saying, we've been taking polls, and there's like 11 Republicans that said in the House that they're not going to vote for it. All of a sudden, what the fuck? All of a sudden, they all voted for it. Oh, now it's at the Senate. Oh, same horse shit comes out. They did a poll. Yay, they did another poll. And all of a sudden, it's like, this can never pass. It's going to end up costing the United States taxpayer between $3.5 to $5 trillion, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, food stamps, blah, 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 blah. It's never going to pass. Look what they're doing. They're already having these crazy votes. Oh my God, these poor motherfuckers, they had to stay in the House, in the chamber for 24 plus hours in order to debate. They had to have the Zoomathon, and you got Ted Tillis, and he's sitting there and he's playing hide and seek with his kids on the telephone. And what? Seriously? At some point in time, enough already. Sit down with the guy on the other side of the aisle and say, just steal Trump line. Steal a Trump line and say, let's make a deal. Let's figure out how we can make a bill, because there's nothing wrong with passing a bill, a bipartisan bill. Let's make a bipartisan bill that works for everybody, not just the folks that don't need it, that are going to end up with another couple million in their pocket in order to buy themselves another boat or another airplane or what have you, another piece of art. That's what we need to do, to sit across the aisle and to make a deal, one, again, that benefits everybody, not just the top 10 of 1%.
It's my firm belief, and we won't get into the debate here, though, is that you can't make a deal with Donald Trump and the cult that has become MAGA, because they view a deal as submission. They view a deal that one side wins and another side has to totally surrender. And that's not the way deals are done. A good deal, both sides give, both sides take. There is arm's length adversarial, but you come together and try to figure out solutions. There's a reason why Donald Trump is struggling, would be putting it lightly, to do deals with other countries. One, because there were deals that existed before, some that Trump did in his first term, that Trump breached the same way he would breach agreements when he was in business and bankrupt a lot of his businesses. And he's not clear about what his intentions are in the negotiations, so countries don't know what is being asked of them. When a country gives a concession, they get mocked for it by the Trump regime. Canada pulled back a digital services tax. What happens? The Trump regime goes out and does a press conference. They go, Mark Carney caved. How pathetic is Canada? 51st state. Look how weak Canada is. So how, if you're Carney, can you do a deal where there will be concessions, where if you do something like that, that's how you're treated? It's every country that Trump does that with as well. I mean, you look at Japan. Donald Trump, it should be easy to do a deal between the United States and Japan.
Ben, I'm so sorry. This isn't about Trump anymore. This is not about Trump. There are moderate.
There are. See, we'll get into it. We'll spend the last 10 minutes. There's no such thing as you think that there are moderate. Truthfully, you believe that there are moderate Republicans in Congress that will do things that Donald Trump doesn't want them. You truly believe that?
No, I don't. Okay. No, I believe that there are moderate Republicans, and that's the job now of the Democrat, especially the one who has years and years worth of relationships. Do something. Try to build.
Play it out. Play it out.
You can't lay down and then just accept the fact that this has now become a winner-take-all scenario, because nobody ever wins that way.
The Democrats didn't create the framework of a winner-take-all scenario. The Democrats are out there, like it or not, they're trying to come up with amendments that actually benefit these red districts. So, but just go back to your point. You said that you don't think in Congress there are any Republicans in Congress who will do something that Donald Trump doesn't want them to do.
There were a few. There were a few. Okay. Tom Tillis, you got Don Bacon, even Rand Paul.
Okay, well, that's not enough. Okay, well, we got them. Right, when it comes to Tom Tillis, when it comes to Rand Paul, who's actually not that normal. It's just when it comes to, he wants more Medicaid cut, but at least he voted against this disastrous budget bill, but for reasons that I think are different than the reasons why I'm against it. Okay, so you've got Tom Tillis, you've got Rand Paul, you had Susan Collins, that made 3.
Yep.
So you don't think the Democrats were trying to flip Murkowski? You know, of course they were. You don't think Democrats were trying to go to all of these MAGA Republicans? So I don't know who on the Senate you're referring to. And then in the House of Representatives, you have Thomas Massie from Kentucky. You've got Valadao now in California who says he's not voting for it. I don't see who else exists in the House that's open and willing to do a deal with Democrats. I think Democrats would love to try to come up with something bipartisan. I mean, look, we put forward a bipartisan immigration bill. Democrats negotiated with MAGA Republican Senator Lankford from where is he from? Oklahoma?
Yep. No.
Is he from Utah or Oklahoma? I think he's from. I want to say he's from Oklahoma. 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 So he created a framework. Democrats said, here's how we solve the issue along the lines of what Americans want. We agree. Very strong border, expedited asylum. So if someone's not supposed to be here, they get deported. There's not going to be ICE disappearing people. We're going to fund more ICE officers. We try to do a deal, and they don't want to do a deal. I don't get how you do a deal with them.
Well, I don't know, but with Senator Lankford, they actually had a bipartisan deal, which Trump ended up killing because that would have been a benefit to Joe Biden.
Exactly, but that's the point. You said don't think about Trump in this, and Trump is always.
He wasn't even president at the time. Joe Biden was. He was just, which makes it even worse.
Worse, exactly.
Like I said, listen, Ben. One of the things that I constantly say here, and people have their opinions, and everyone's entitled to it. Ben and I may not agree 100% on the route, but we always ultimately agree on the destination, on the end point. All right. Yes, I make a comment. What is the comment? Trump wasn't even president at the time. He managed to interfere in a bipartisan bill. But does that mean that you don't try to pass more bipartisan bills? No, you go right back and you start again and you try again. And they have to try, because not to try. When I watch, for example, like Chuck Schumer and some of the other guys, they stand up there behind their gilded podium and they bang their hand and they have the outrage and they're so angry about what's going on and they demonstrate all of this fervor and they make their speeches and so on, and then the speech is over and then they sit down and they go home and they go have dinner and then they go and they trade on their inside information. Bullshit. All right. How about go and figure out how to have dinner or go have a drink with somebody from the other side of the aisle and see if you can't rebuild a relationship. You got to do something, because to do nothing, you're 100% a loser. At least try. That's all I'm asking. Don't even be effective. How about just try? Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. We're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.